الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ربي زدني علما وارزقني فهما. My dear brothers and sisters, young and old, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to our live show coming to you direct from Iqra Studios here in Bradford, West Yorkshire, the heart of Bradford, West Yorkshire, on Manchester Road, alhamdulillah. I hope you've been keeping well, inshallah. Hope you are in good health and good iman. May Allah Ta'ala keep us in good health and good iman. Last week we were discussing on this live health show, we were discussing the remedies for influenza. We mentioned what influenza was, how serious it can be, how some people pass away from influenza. And I promised that this week we will talk about kind of the cold, the common cold. Last week I explained that an influenza, the symptoms of influenza are basically when you have, normally a common cold, you have a runny nose, maybe runny eyes, a slight cough, which then gets worse and goes to your chest, and you have aches and pains, you develop a moderately high fever, and also you have weakness. That was influenza. And I mentioned last week that it's very important that the young children and the elderly or those who are chronically kind of unwell, they should be really observed and looked after, because things can change dramatically and drastically, you see. It's very important that people with influenza are regularly check them. You make sure they're hydrated, there's plenty of water with them, they keep warm, there are plenty of fluids throughout the illness. And I mentioned they should definitely be taking things like, I mentioned zinc piconate last time. Zinc piconate has been proven to reduce the severity of colds and coughs and influenzas. 15 mgs I mentioned 3 times a day has such a great impact on reducing the proliferation of viral infections. When you have a viral infection, the viral infection, it attacks every cell, and them cells multiply until it goes through all the cells in the body. Zinc stops that. Zinc piconate 15 mgs 3 times a day is amazing. I also mentioned vitamin C. Now I mentioned then as well, and I mentioned today, that not all vitamin C are the same. You have calcium ascorbate, you have magnesium ascorbate, you have different, chelated vitamin C's. These are the ones that you need to get, especially now from, from October past till about March, you should be taking these regularly. So them vitamin C's that you get from the shops at 99 pence, a pound, £2, they're pretty much useless, because the quantities you need, you can't take in these normal, what you call ascorbic acid vitamin C. And most of these ones, them lozenges, etc., are ascorbic vitamin C. You take more than a gram or two and you get diarrhea. So ulta, instead of getting better, you'll get worse. So what you need to get, and you should, every prudent person in their homes should have these few things. I'm going to go through a few things that you need to have, and then we'll go through the colds, remedy for colds, what a cold is, why it's important that when you have a cold, you let it run its course. As they say, don't cure a cold, let a cold cure you. Don't cure a cold, let a cold cure you. Because what happens when people have colds, what do? They do suppressive actions. They take things which suppress all the symptoms, which is no good. And I explain to you why it's no good, inshallah. Then I'm going to mention to you, I'm going to hopefully go through some very important remedies for the cold. Aconite, Napellus, Allium, Cepa, Belladonna, Ferrum Phos, Kali Carbonicum, Ipecac, Rustox, inshallah. We're going to go through some of these remedies here. I'm going to quickly go through the main pictures of these medicines, and these medicines are very easily available. You can order them from the pharmacies, you can order them from your homeopaths. Try to stock up on these remedies because they are incredible, especially if you're new to homeopathic medicine. They're really good, especially for first aid. Let's go to the call, please. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We've got a call waiting.
वालेकुम सलाम
जी भाई, क्या हाल है?
जी, बस ठीक है जी। पूछना था, नींद के लिए कुछ है? नींद नहीं आती।
हाँ, नींद के लिए बहुत कुछ है। अल्लाह आपको, बल्कि आप यहीं ठहरे, आपको नींद क्यों नहीं आती? दर्द की वजह से या क्यों नींद क्यों नहीं आ रही है आपको?
वैसे नींद, वो मेरी वाइफ कहने वो उसके वैसे नींद चला गया, वो नींद आता नहीं है बिल्कुल ही।
ठीक है, तो किस वक्त नींद नहीं आती? पूरी जब नींद के लिए आप जाते हैं उस वक्त से नींद नहीं आती, या नींद आती है फिर आदमी को दोबारा बेजारी हो जाती है?
पहले आती वो बिल्कुल नहीं आती है नींद, बिल्कुल नहीं।
तो जब नींद के लिए आपकी अहलिया मोहतरमा जाती है तो नींद नहीं आती?
नींद आती ही नहीं है ना।
तो हाँ, आप तो यानी दिमाग के अंदर क्या होता है? यानी सोचे आती हैं, नहीं आती हैं, वैसे ही क्या होता है?
वैसे ही नहीं नींद आती है ना, वैसे ही नहीं नींद आती।
हाँ, मैं आपको बताता हूँ, जब हमारे यहाँ मरीज़ आते हैं ना नींद के प्रॉब्लम के साथ, तो तकरीबन 80-90 हम सवाल उनसे पूछते हैं।
अच्छा।
अब मुझे पूछे क्यों?
जी जी।
इस वास्ते कि जो होम्योपैथिक दवाई होती है ना, वो इंडिविजुअलाइज होती हैं। बाद लोगों को सदमा होता है, उसकी वजह से नींद नहीं आती, बाज़ों को कोई तकलीफ़ होती है, इसकी वजह से नहीं आती, बाज़ों को ठंडी होती है, इन दिस सो मच डिफरेंट रीज़न। लेकिन आप सुनते जाएँ, मैं आपको एक बहुत अच्छी तजवीज़ बताऊँगा। ये जो है दवाई है, बल्कि आप सुनते, मैं आपको बताता हूँ, उसका नाम है,
दवाई किधर से मिलती है जो आपकी, किधर से लेनी पड़ती है?
होम्योपैथिक दवाई। होम्योपैथिक दवाई आप आपके होम्योपैथिक फिजिशियन से ले सकते हैं, आप इंटरनेट से ले सकते हैं। अगर आप गूगल करें ना कि होम्योपैथिक फिजिशियन या होम्योपैथिक हेल्थ स्टोर या होम्योपैथिक क्लिनिक्स, आपको वहाँ से मिल जाएगी। लेकिन आप सुनते जाएं, मैं आपको एक दवाई बताऊंगा नींद के लिए, इससे बहुत ही हमारे मरीजों को फ़ायदा हुआ है। ठीक है, आप सुनते जाएं इंशाल्लाह। जज़ाकल्लाह।
आप खुद भी देते हैं दवाई?
हम, हाँ भाई, हमारी तो यहाँ अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह 2 क्लिनिक है ब्राफर के अंदर, हम भी देते हैं और भी देते हैं इंशाल्लाह।
तो
ठीक,
आपका नंबर फिर चाहिए ना?
भाई मैं नंबर नहीं दे सकता हूँ, मैं नंबर के लिए भी जाना ही बैठा हूँ। हम आपको वैसे एडवाइस देते हैं। अगर हमारा नंबर चाहिए तो आप आदिल से ले लें, जो बेटे हैं यहाँ इकरा के अंदर। ठीक है, वो आपके हवाले कर देंगे नंबर इंशाल्लाह। ठीक है, Jazakallah. Okay, we just had a quick call, and this brother asked for some sleep remedies. So I'll quickly tell you right now, one of the best remedies we've had success with for sleep issues, and that's called Cytonite. Cytonite, C-Y-T-O, Cyto, then night, N-I-G-H-T. This is a very good remedy. It's got, mashallah, some very good ingredients in, and it's in powder form, and it's like a delicious, mashallah, berry flavor. It's very nice. What this will do, it'll help relax you. It'll increase the melatonin levels inside your body. Remember the serotonin, melatonin levels? These are precursors to, serotonin is a precursor to melatonin, and melatonin helps you sleep. So when the darkness comes, this is what happens. The melatonin increases, and when the light comes, it decreases. It's like our natural circadian rhythm. It helps us sleep when it's night, and it helps us awake when there's light. So if you can get hold of this cytoplan, it's very good for you, inshallah. Let's go to another call. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
वालेकुम सलाम। कैसे हैं भैया, और ठीक है आप?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। बहन, आपका क्या हाल है?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, शुक्र अल्लाह का। और मेरे को ये पूछना था कि किसी को वो जो फिश खाते हैं तो उसका कांटा नेक में स्टक हो जाता है, तो इसकी दवा क्या है? इसको कैसा करना है?
सॉरी, दोबारा फरमाएं, क्या होता है?
वो जो हमें फिश खाते हैं ना, फिश,
हाँ,
मछली,
हाँ,
तो उसका हम खाते तो फिर उसका कांटा नहीं होता है क्या?
हाँ, ठीक है।
वो अभी वो नेक में स्टक हो जाते तो अब क्या करें?
तो आप सुनते जाए, मैं बताता हूँ आपको क्या करें। ठीक है,
ओके, जज़ाकल्लाह।
अभी तो नहीं हो रहा है किसी को स्ट्रोक? अच्छा, this sister is asking that if you have some fish and you get the small kind of small bones of a fish, then first of all it can get stuck towards the trachea, and it can be a medical emergency. That's the first thing. And if it's a medical emergency, you need to call 999 straight away, because many a time, if it's lodged in a precarious position, you need surgery and intervention to take it out, and you need medical care. अगर किसी को इस तरह कोई आदमी कोई चीज़ खा रहा हो या खा रही हो, और वो चीज़ आदमी के जो हलक के अंदर यानी वहाँ जम जाए और वहाँ स्टक हो जाए, तो ज़रा बात है, इससे बड़ा ख़तरा हो सकता है। आदमी का जो यानी कि ब्रीदिंग जो ऑपरेटस है, वो उस पर असर हो सकता है। तो अगर इस तरह हो तो फिर ये मेडिकल इमरजेंसी हो सकती है। इसके लिए लाजमी है कि आप फ़ौरन यानी जो एम्बुलेंस का नंबर है उनको आप फ़ोन करें। हो सकता है इससे कि आदमी की ब्रीदिंग पर बहुत असर हो सकता है। यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल। वैसे अगर कोई चीज़ फंसी हुई है और कोई कांटा है जो आदमी को चुभता है, छोटी मामूली सी चीज़, तो इसके लिए एक दवाई है होम्योपैथी के अंदर, सिलिक नाम है इसका। सिलिक जो होम्योपैथिक दवाई है, हम इसको देते हैं यानी कि कांटे को निकालने के लिए। अगर कोई चीज़ वहाँ घुस गई हो और आदमी को तकलीफ़ दे रही है, तो उसको निकालने के लिए सिलिक 200 सी के अंदर जो होम्योपैथिक पोटेंसी है, आप उसके वो एक दो ले लेंगे, एक लें अभी, एक 15-20 मिनट के बाद, तो इंशाअल्लाह सुम्मा इंशाअल्लाह वो बहुत जल्दी ही वो खुद ब खुद जिस्म उसको निकाल लेगी। क्योंकि सिलिका जो दवाई है उसका असर यही होता है कि जिस्म से चीज़ों को निकालती है। अगर 30 के अंदर डालें तो अंदर जज्ब कर लेती है, अगर 200 के अंदर वो दवाई लें तो निकालती है। इसकी मिसाल मैं आपको देता हूँ। बाज़ लोगों को यानी कि जो अब्सेसिस होते हैं ना, अब्सेसिस बड़े बड़े जो यानी कि मोके होते हैं या स्पॉट्स होते हैं या खाबुंकल जिसे हम कहते हैं ना, जिसके अंदर फुस्त और पीप होती है, बड़े बड़े स्पॉट्स या अक्नी के, तो इसके लिए भी ये होम्योपैथिक दवाई है सिलिका कि 200 के अंदर अगर दें तो उस जो यानी कि ये जो फूंसी होती है या अब्सेस होता है उसको अबॉर्ट कर लेता है, हर चीज़ बाहर निकाल लेता है। तो सिमिलरली अगर किसी को कोई चीज़ कांटा या कोई इस तरह कोई चीज़ आदमी के अंदर यानी घुस गई हो और नहीं निकल पा रही हो या ऐसी जगह के अंदर है कि वहाँ का निकलना मुश्किल हो, तो सिलिका 200 आप इसको आजमाएं, इंशाअल्लाह आपको इससे बहुत फ़ायदा होगा। और इससे पहले जो कॉल था तो नींद के बारे में हम गुफ्तगू कर रहे थे, जल्दी बताता जाऊँ। तो ये एक दवाई थी साइटोनाइट। साइटोनाइट के अंदर मोंटगोमरी एक किस्म की छेरी होती है, तो वो छेरी का पाउडर होता है और इस पाउडर से आदमी के अंदर ये जो नहीं सेरोटोनिन मेलाटोनिन लेवल्स उसको बढ़ाता है, तो आदमी को बहुत अच्छी नींद आती है। 1-2 दिन आपको लेना होगा। बाज़ लोगों को जल्दी उसी रात नींद आ जाती है, बाज़ लोगों को 1-2 दिन लेने के बाद उनको फ़ायदा होता है। लेकिन ज़रूर आप इसको आजमाइएगा, बहुत फ़ायदा होगा। और इट्स ऑल नेचुरल। ये जो है ना साइटोनाइट जिसकी बात मैं कर रहा हूँ नींद के लिए, it's very good and it's natural as well. So do get hold of that. Number 2, before we go to the other calls, something called passiflora. Passiflora is a very good remedy for sleeping. You take it again in the 30C potency every night, and inshallah it will relax you. If you can get the mother tincture, get that as well. Something called valerian is very good as well. Valerian, VALERIAN. Again, 10 drops twice a day. It will really help with sleep, inshallah. Let's go to the next call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Okay, that call has gone. And let's go to the other call. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, chalo, mashallah. So we were talking about the colds and coughs. So I want to explain to you, inshallah, today the remedies for the colds and coughs, how to distinguish between the remedies. Yeah, and I want you to try these because they're very natural. They're very gentle and they're very effective as well, alhamdulillah. And what they will do is they will stop your cold and cough from progressing further into a influenza, inshallah. But before I even go down there, as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, everybody in the house should have these zinc picnolates, from a very good reputable company, should have that, number 1. Number 2, vitamin C's. Vitamin C's, the right vitamin C's, the vitamin C's which are made from calcium ascorbate or magnesium ascorbate. These vitamin C's from certain companies, I can't mention them on air unfortunately, but very good companies. And you normally look at the price. The higher the price, the better the quality is generally. To get the good quality ones, and if someone's got a cold or a cough, early symptoms, maybe a runny nose, runny eyes, a sore throat, maybe a slight ear, these ester-C, yani ke the vitamin C and the zinc, this will abort it within the first 24 hours, inshallah ta'ala. And if it's actually progressed where you've got muscular aches and pains, there's weakness and there's high fever, the full influenza, then if you start taking 1 gram of this kind of vitamin C every hour, for 10 hours, 9 hours, I'm talking about adults, then by the grace of Allah ta'ala, you will make your own body finish off the fever and the influenza. Amazing. If you remember the COVID time in New York, there were about 6-7 hospitals that were using intravenous vitamin C for severe pneumonia and for severe COVID-19 symptoms. Alhamdulillah, they did really well. Obviously, not everybody can access IV drips, but a good substitute is these ecstasies, and they can make all the difference. They can make all the difference from having your loved one admitted to hospital. And I'm not suggesting for a moment don't get professional, health care and get your loved ones looked after. These are things you can do alongside that or before that. Alhamdulillah. And the third thing I wanted to mention was something called echinacea. Echinacea is a very, very good remedy which increases the white blood cell count. And what that does is that it helps fight off all kinds of viral infections, bacterial infections. So it's known as echinacea, and you can get a very, very good, again, you have to get a good company. Don't be getting these normal ones that just, in supermarkets and Morrison's and these places. You need to find the best company and you need to purchase this echinacea from there. And this should be taken every day. Good for children, good for adults, 10 drops in the morning, 10 drops in the evening for the next few months. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will not even catch a cold, inshallah. You won't even get influenza. Why? Because your immune system will be strong. And bear in mind, common sense things you need to do. Make sure you dress warmly when you go outside. Like many guys and ladies as well in their cars, they have the heater on. It's 25, 26, 27 degrees, really hot. And then when they reach the destination, they come out into the freezing cold. What's that going to do? It's going to give you exposure. So within 24 hours, you're going to have a runny nose, you're going to start getting a fever, you're going to feel hot, and that's the beginning of the influenza. So make sure you adjust to your heat temperature in your car. Make sure when you come out of the car, you are kind of relatively, acclimatized. You're not going from a very hot place to a very cold place. And make sure you're always warm. You got warm socks on. In the morning when you wake up, you have 2 glasses of warm water with some lemon juice. It keeps you warm, first of all. Number 2, it'll keep you away from being constipated. Very, very important thing. Number 3, wash your hands frequently. Not to the OCD level, but keep your hands clean, because you will pick up bacteria and that bacteria will make you ill, inshallah. So we've got 3 minutes before the break. So I'm going to quickly mention, as mentioned in the beginning, that when people have colds and coughs, the early stage, what they do is they start taking things that keep their nose from running, decongestants. They kind of put things into the nose, sprays which stop their nose from running. They take cough suppressant medicines, and they take medicines which bring the fever down. Now, I'm not saying that don't take medicines if your fever is really, really high, but the truth be told is that your body needs help to fight this cold. And often the case is when you start taking these remedies that kind of stop your nose from running, they do make matters worse. Because let's give you an example. If you're coughing, now in the early stages, what the cough is doing is opening your airways, keeping them clean, getting rid of the bacteria and the mucus which contains the bacteria or the viral infection. By keeping it inside you, it's going to be infecting the tissues even more. Same thing with the nose. You want to get rid of this phlegm from your throat, the discharge from your nose. Let it cleanse your body out. Let it heal and get rid of all these toxins. That's a good thing, providing it doesn't go to a certain level and you don't have a systemic fever. So, blocking the body's natural mechanism of healing isn't a good idea. And same thing when it comes to a fever. The body goes into a state of fever to kill the bacteria. It kills the bacteria and the viruses. But viruses and bacteria can't operate above a certain temperature. So the body inherently goes and makes itself, hotter for a reason. And the reason for this is that the bacteria that are lurking in your body and infecting the cells, they will be destroyed by your body's own temperature. It makes sense. So within, reason, this you should work with the body and not take, use mechanisms and kind of, over-the-counter things which will be counterproductive, which will not be beneficial. Homeopathic remedy are amazing substitute for just doing the right thing and helping your body. So there's many, many good remedies. After the break, inshallah, stay with us. We're going to go through maybe 5-6 remedies, and we'll mention the remedies which you can actually take at the beginning of a cold, and they will abort your cold and stop you from getting influenza. We'll tell you remedies which are first grade, first 24 hours, remedies which you take in the next 2 days, and remedies if your cold and cough is much more worse. And inshallah ta'ala, you will have in your knowledge and in your medical cabinet at home a good supply. You'll build these up inshallah to help your children and your family and your loved ones in the future. Alhamdulillah, as I mentioned before, you know, the Queen and the royal families and many of these aristocratic families are still, even now, using homeopathic remedies. So please, inshallah, stay with us until after the break, and then we will start the second session. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.